Hey everyone, my name is Sophie from Sophisticated Organization. Welcome to another Sophisticated Saturday where together we're gonna work through my to-do list and get stuff done around the house. I have pulled out my glass dry erase board and I'm gonna start by writing out my to-do list and try and get as much done as possible today and mix in hopefully a few fun things. I might add in a recipe because if you've been here before, you know that I love to cook and bake, and that is especially what I like to do on the weekends. So let's get started.
What's it like to be the one that he turns to when he's out of answers? What's it like to be the one that he comes to when he wants to dance? And I wonder what's that like? I have got him on my mind, but he doesn't know my name, and I'm running out of time. I wish he felt the same, and I'm acting stupid like every day. Don't know what to do or what I should say, 'cause
The first thing that I'm gonna get started with this morning is making some homemade peanut butter granola. And I did use one recipe kind of as inspiration. I mixed it up a little bit, so I will list the ingredients that I used as well as linking the recipe in the description box below. But I basically doubled this recipe. So I did 6 cups of old-fashioned oats to my mixing bowl. Then I added in a half teaspoon of salt,
thinking about him. I have got him on
4 tablespoons of chia seeds, 2 teaspoons of cinnamon, and then I mix that all together.
I wish you felt the same, and I'm acting stupid like every day. Don't know what to do or what I should say, 'cause I have got him on my mind, but he doesn't know my name.
After all of the dry ingredients, then you can start to mix in your wet ingredients. So I added in a cup of creamy natural peanut butter, followed by a half cup of melted coconut oil. So I needed to put that into the microwave to get that melted. 2 teaspoons of vanilla, and then the last ingredient is 2/3 of a cup of honey.
I have got him on my mind, but he doesn't know my name, and I'm running out.
Homemade granola is so easy to make and so delicious. It's perfect to top on yogurt just to have as a snack. You could add it to some milk and have it kind of like as a cereal. And both Jim and I love it. So I thought it'd be a fun, quick, easy thing to make. And it's always kind of a nice thing to help empty out some of those ingredients you might have in your pantry. So you can really make it whatever you want. You can add in dried fruit. You could add in some chocolate chips. You could add in extra nuts if you want. So I had a thing of peanuts that we hadn't been using. So I tossed the peanuts in there and broke this up into 2 separate batches. So one I could make as just the plain peanut butter granola with peanuts in it, and the other one I was planning to add some chocolate chips after. I will say if I were to make this recipe again, because it didn't include peanuts, I would probably add the peanuts after I cooked it, because the peanuts were already roasted peanuts. If you have just raw peanuts, then you could roast them with the granola. But if you already have roasted peanuts, then I would just add them after. And probably it would avoid any nuts with a lot of additional salt. Just raw nuts are perfect. So before you put it into the oven that's set to 325 degrees, you just want to lay down parchment paper and get it nice and thin. It should take about 20 minutes in the oven, and you'll know it's done because it'll start kind of turning golden brown on the edges. The key with granola is once you take it out of the oven, you want to let it sit so it can make those nice, perfect chunks before you mix it around.
I deserve to be unheard, but I want you to see that you are the reason why I try. I don't know what you
So with those things in the oven, I'm going to clean up a little bit, spray down my countertops, and wipe up and clean before we move on to some other things. Even though I will be back in the kitchen cooking a little bit later, I want to kind of clean as I go. My mom always used to tell me that she loves what I cook and bake, but hates the mess that I make in the kitchen. And I think my husband would probably agree with her. So I'm trying to be better about cleaning as I go and making a little bit less of a mess while I cook. Usually I kind of just ignore that and focus on the recipe at hand and then clean after. But I've been trying to put away ingredients and trying to kind of do the dishes as I go so it's not as big of a mess. Once the dishes were put away, it was perfect timing for me to refill my sink scrub because I wanted to be able to scrub down my sink, and my sink scrub was empty. It's just a combination of baking soda and essential oils, so I'm going to fill that up and layer it into the jar that I have a shaker lid on top, so it makes it really easy to sprinkle it over the sink. And to use it, all you do is sprinkle it over the sink, add a little bit of dish soap, scrub it with a sponge that's damp so you can get a little bit of a lather going, and then rinse it away. And it works great on stainless steel sinks to have them shine and get away any gunk, and the scent of whatever essential oils you pick helps get rid of any scent that you might have lingering in your sink. So one of my favorites is lemongrass for the kitchen.
Soaking in the warmth of peace beyond a fight. You have dreamt of walking, slowly taking time, figuring the knots out in this web of mine.
Time to check on that granola, and it's looking pretty good, so I'm going to pull it out of the oven and let it sit. While the granola cools, I'm going to throw in a load of laundry. This is all of Owen's laundry, which I'm doing, it seems like every day, maybe every other, but it's quite often. So I have to throw in a load of his wash, and then I'm going to clean some bottle and pump parts. Another task that's new to the to-do list, but something that I need to get done quite often as well. So far, I have been washing most of it by hand and using a baby bottle soap and a little dish brush that's just meant for baby bottles. Kind of dedicated the laundry room sink to this task, and then letting them dry on a drying rack next to the sink. And then every now and then I will take them downstairs and put them in some microwavable sterilization bags and do that to sterilize them. I haven't put these things in the dishwasher yet, so I'm sure soon I will move to that because the hand washing is getting a little bit tedious. Besides refilling my sink scrub, I had a few other kind of general restock things that I wanted to do, which is a common task when you are somebody who likes to decant things like I do. So I had some Epsom salts. I've been really enjoying Epsom salts baths. I actually am breastfeeding right now and got a clogged milk duct. And one of the things that you can do is an Epsom salt soak and just like hot baths and stuff. So I got more Epsom salts and actually got something to decant my Epsom salts into. So I need to fill that up. Mistake was I did it on the side of the tub instead of in the tub to catch any of those little spills, but it was okay. I just cleaned it up with a little wet rag. My shampoo and conditioner also needed to be refilled, so I grabbed those and refilled them. And it might seem kind of redundant to refill a bottle with a bottle that's the same size, but these bottles were actually sent to me from the company Puracy, and they are the shampoo and conditioner that I was already using, so it worked out really well. One of the reasons that I do like that shampoo and conditioner is when you want to buy refills, you can buy refills in a bag instead of a bottle. So it's a large bag, so it's a little bit more environmentally friendly. And then you can buy in bulk, and decanting makes a little bit more sense. Even if you are transferring from one bottle to another and they're the same size, it does help with the aesthetic as well, pouring them into all uniform bottles. So I will say that. Owen's laundry was ready to switch over. I tossed in some dryer balls and then back down to the kitchen to check on that granola. I added in the chocolate chips to one half of it, so we could have one that's a peanut butter chocolate chip and then one that's a little bit healthier without the chocolate. Once I finished, Jim asked if he could eat some, and I said, which one do you want, the peanut butter one without chocolate or the one with chocolate? And he said, what do you think? Of course, Jim opted for the chocolate one. It's too good to resist, but both of them are really good. The original recipe did not have chocolate in it, so not something you need to add, but if you want to make it a little bit more of a treat and a little more decadent, toss in some chocolate chips.
Nothing more you could improve. In every flaw I see the good, but my mind's a bit clouded. You're way too perfect to be true, and I try to see things about you that could make me change my way.
Another quick restock while I'm back down in the kitchen is restocking all of our K-Cups. Jim is so easygoing. He just takes all of the generic Target brand and doesn't mind at all. So I just needed to refill his side because mine had been recently restocked. So his side is the regular and mine is decaf. Now it's time to prep some dinner. And if you've heard me say before that we are testing out some meal delivery kits, this one is HelloFresh. And we've been doing that because of having a new baby. It's actually made it a lot easier to not have to go to the grocery store. I've also been doing some grocery pickup as well, which is another really convenient thing, but these meals are pretty quick to make. I don't have to do any meal planning, so it all saves time, which has been really helpful. Now, if you watch YouTube videos or you're anywhere on social media, you probably see that there are so many sponsorships, especially for HelloFresh when it comes to meal delivery kits. I want you to know this is not sponsored. I paid for all of this with my own money. This was truly something that was on my to-do list, so I wanted to share it with you and share kind of my real thoughts about HelloFresh in particular, as well as some meal delivery kits. So the convenience, again, is great because it's delivered straight to your door, no meal planning time needed. But for somebody who loves to cook, I don't really enjoy making the meals. They're relatively simple and it kind of takes some of the joy out of it for me. Everything's basically pre-measured. All you have to do is chop and heat things essentially. So if you are somebody who finds a lot of joy in the kitchen like I do, you might not enjoy making these meals a lot because they are pretty basic. If you are somebody who doesn't know how to cook at all and you're trying to learn a little bit, I think they'd be great. Also, if you're somebody who maybe opts more for takeout and you're trying to do a few more home cooked meals, but it feels really overwhelming to you, this could be a great option. But as somebody who typically makes meals at home, I usually cook. We rarely go out to eat and we rarely do, really rarely do any sort of takeout. This is more expensive than grocery shopping, and we end up spending more money this way. It might be kind of more of a wash with some of those initial promo discounts and stuff, but definitely once you start paying full price for them, then you are spending more with the meal delivery kits than you would with going grocery shopping. You'll probably also see that there's a lot of plastic, so if you're worried about the environment and things like that, you may not be a fan of meal delivery kits. The other positive on the flip side, though, of having things that are pre-measured and having them individually wrapped is that there's no food waste at all. It can be really hard to grocery shop and meal plan and try and figure out when you buy certain items that you're going to use them up exactly for a recipe, or if there's a bunch of it, then you have to plan 2 recipes that use that ingredient and not have any food waste. It can be really difficult, so this eliminates that as well. I do have to admit that every single meal we have had from HelloFresh, we have enjoyed. The flavor is really good. So I can't say that we've sat down to the table and started eating and thought like, ugh, this is really not good. Every meal we've been like, oh, this is actually pretty good. Some we've really, really enjoyed, and other ones are just fine, but nothing we have been disappointed by.
Never thought it would be so hard. I grew up without a scar, just living my life with no big worries. And I've always known what I want, just didn't know what came along. Finding myself a much less happy. Back in the days I used to dream about one day a life so amazing, not everyone judging me. Don't wanna care about them, though it hurts so bad. I wanna stay wide open, 'cause if I shut down, it just gives.
The chicken was pretty simple with a breadcrumb mixture on top and a base layer of mayo to make it stick, and you put that in the oven. So I got that in, as well as those veggies roasting. HelloFresh is big into having little sauces on the side, and so are we. So that worked out really well. And this one came with a sriracha mayo. You can probably see as I'm making it on the left-hand side of the screen, Jim was there eating the granola. So he was hanging out while I was in the kitchen, munching on some of that granola I made earlier. Everything's still cooking in the oven. The sauce is made. So I'm going to go through my backstock bin that I keep in my pantry and just reorganize it. It looked like it was getting really full and really messy. So I wanted to pull everything out. There were a few crumbs in the bottom, empty that out, and just go through everything.
It's overwhelming how people can hate on me. Don't wanna care about them, though it hurts so bad.
With organizing, it's really important to have spaces that you are constantly going through. If you have any space in your house that you just let go stagnant and you never go through a bin, never open a closet, never open a cabinet or a drawer for years on end, that's when you're going to have just a mess on your hands and a really disorganized and probably cluttered space. So going through things often really helps to combat that. With my backstock bin in the kitchen especially, I oftentimes find when I go through this, I can refill different jars and containers. My olive oil needed it, my cocoa powder needed it, and I can get rid of things that are in that backstock bin and refill the items that I actually need to refill at the same time.
Don't wanna care about them, though it hurts so bad. I wanna stay wide open. Don't wanna care about them, though it hurts so bad. I wanna stay wide open. 'Cause if I shut down, it just gives them right. I wanna stay wide open. Oh, oh, oh. I wanna stay wide open.
I also decided to take this moment to rearrange the bin that I have with all of the rice in it. I keep rice in this bin as well as some nuts and seeds and dried fruit. So that's where I had the peanuts, and I have some cranberries and stuff in there too.
Don't work out the way I thought they would. And before you, there was no one who understood. Never found somewhere I fit in.
Dinner is ready, so we're gonna sit down. I'm gonna serve myself some carrots, some potatoes, and then a piece of that chicken.
It go away. All you have to do is look at me. Sometimes I can't breathe. But it feels
Finally, after dinner, I was gonna head to Owen's room to fold some laundry. We finally have his nursery furniture. So I actually filmed this before I filmed a nursery tour, but just a few days ago, I posted a full nursery tour. So if you want to see everything, you can head to that video and watch the full nursery tour. But this day, we hadn't quite finalized everything, and I was getting a few things still organized. So this is kind of a behind the scenes before it was finally done.
But I'm feeling stronger with you. And the days don't work out the way I thought they would. And before you, there was no one who understood.
Sometimes I can't see, but it feels like you're the one who saves me. When I try.
The top drawer I'm using for diapering, basically. I do have a little diaper caddy on top of the dresser as well, but wanted to have backstock diapers because we go through them so quickly. So it's nice to have some right there, as well as some backstock wipes, and just have everything that we would ever need right there.
What you do. No, I can't get enough of what you do. Enough of what you do.
I'll give you my everything. It's not much, but it's all I have.
You know we could run to a place where we belong, but I need you there with me to go on. Sometimes I can't see, but it feels like you're the one who saves me.
I had a few more items to fold, like some blankets and outfits and a couple swaddles and burp cloths. So I needed to sit down and get that folded before bed. Jim is just putting Owen down to sleep right now, so we're gonna get him to bed, and I'm gonna finish folding up his laundry and get the rest of his dresser put together, and then I'm off to bed as well. I really need to take advantage of when he's sleeping, and I obviously did not finish everything on my to-do list. There were just a couple of other things, but that's just the reality of where we're at right now with a newborn. Things are a little bit hectic and I can't always finish my to-do list, but there's no firm deadline on me finishing my bathrooms or cleaning up the office. So I'm totally fine doing that tomorrow and focusing on getting a little bit of extra sleep. So if you liked today's Sophisticated Saturday, I'd appreciate it if you give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And until next time, I will see you guys later.